Hi everyone, welcome back. So I just wanted to give a quick update to some of the energies that I read on in my last video because I do feel like things have kind of shifted. I woke up this morning feeling really grounded and calm and clear, and was so busy enjoying my day that I almost forgot to check in with you guys. So a couple of things. I did ask, well, why am I feeling so good? Not that, I want that to go away, but I would like a little clarity given all of what's going on here. And I do feel like we kind of shifted, and I don't know, shifted into the rightful timeline or just shifted into the start of that new era that's coming in here. But something does feel lighter and, like I said, clearer, and like I'm vibrating a little higher. And so I'm going to roll with that. And I hope that you are feeling that too. And if not, because usually I tend to catch the beat or the feeling of the collective a few days or so before the collective gets there. And so maybe this is just like, that look into what's coming up here for us as a group. And so that feels extremely promising. But a couple images that have shifted. So there was one thing that I had forgot to mention in my last video, one of the other possibilities of 45's demise, right? So I had mentioned in that last video that I saw him some years ago. I think it was back in 2020, where I had tuned in to see, what the possible outcome of his life might be. And they showed me that scenario where he left the country and shortly thereafter was no longer living. But when I was on someone's video yesterday, there was this rumor going around in the intuitive community that he may no longer be here as of now already. And it reminded me of an image that I had back in November before I really talked about what I was seeing or feeling or hearing around this whole ordeal. And before I had found anyone online who was talking about it, right? And so I had only mentioned this image to two people, to my mother and to my daughter, and kind of forgot about it. But the image was of him, and I distinctly remember them pinpointing the 18th and the 19th of January, and of him kind of reaching for the podium, but then falling face down, and I heard heart attack. Now this is for, and I've just got to say it, for entertainment and spiritual purposes only. But I did hear heart attack, and in that image, because things come to me quite often in metaphor, there were three other people on their knees with what's the word? There's metal bracelets. I think that's what Jennifer Lisa Vest calls them. And so they had metal bracelets on, their hands were behind their backs, and they were talking over each other, trying to explain, trying to blame each other. And I kind of forgot that I had, totally forgot that I had had that image. So I did tune in about it and asked every possible way that I could think to double check and triple check and quadruply check to see if that was something, that was happening right now. And I also even took off my rule that I have temporarily, where I say, don't tell me anything unless I ask, because sometimes in the past I'd be told things and I couldn't do anything about it, couldn't, change it. And so it would just become too much for me to be walking around with all the time. And so for this situation, though, I said, okay, I'm going to temporarily remove that rule You tell me the play-by-play because I really want to know. And last night, I had a series of things pop up. I heard hospital and got an image of him there, the machines working, him looking like he's sleeping. And then I later heard life support. And then I later heard the flat line. And I said, okay, am I imagining this? And then it just got louder and louder to tell me, like, no, you're not imagining it. And then somewhere in the night or early this morning, I heard morgue. So that's what was laid out to me. But my human self is having a hard time accepting it, which is why I asked every way that I could possibly imagine, even use the pendulum to check and then to check again, okay, is there any way that I am misinterpreting this? Is there any way that this is just one of the possibilities, given whatever timeline we're on? Is it about the timeline, a timeline shift? Like I asked so many ways. Is it like, what's possible for the future? Although I'm asking about now. And I will say that all these things are possible, especially given since reading these energies involving this ordeal have been kind of tricky and outside of the way that I usually read energy, right? Things have been stacked in terms of the images. Things have been a little tough to interpret, especially in a linear fashion. And so I'm just going to leave that image there. And I think a part of my doubt around that is because I just saw him on video not too long ago, today, watching fireworks with his wife and getting on a plane with his son or something like that. And so how could that be? How could that have taken place if he's no longer here? Is it all smoke and mirrors, these images and this video footage? And so, okay, I guess it's possible. This is what I've heard. Again, my human self is having a hard time accepting it, but I'm sharing it with you all. And we will see what's what when we see what's what, because that kind of took me to the next image that also had shifted a bit. So in my last video, I mentioned him on stage with this kind of terrible, dark-ish energy around him, law enforcement, and the whole shebang, someone marching up from the back, putting documents on the desk, and then reading off the Miranda rights. And now when I tune in about that image, I see the same room, but it's empty. He's still at the podium, but there's some kind of like, I don't know even really how to explain it, some kind of like connection between his body, like it's almost like an energetic connection, like a cord, something like that, between his body and the back of the stage. Like it's almost a projection of him, and it's not really him, but he's the only person in the room. So I don't really know what that is about. I will say that I was asking about his rally because I was like, well, he's supposed to have a rally tomorrow, and that's what I saw, which I'm still very confused about, because then what does that mean for the Big I Day? I see that room empty. I've always seen that, that area empty, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos. And I don't think it has anything to do with them moving it and relocating it from outside to inside. That's not what I gathered at all. And when I read that headline, I did ask, okay, is this what you were showing me? And I heard a definite no. That still is not happening. I can't get it to show me. I can't get my guides to show me that that's happening, because I've asked in many different ways and I just don't see it. And I've just got to go with what I'm seeing here. And I guess we will see how that plays out as well. Other than that, let me see. Oh, I did ask the question of what will Lotus and Dark Brandon, like, how will they feel on the 21st of January? Just a different way to kind of look behind this energy and see, where they are. Because if it shows them one way, then we can kind of assume that that's the direction that the momentum is heading, But no, I see them quite happy about the outcome of the Big I Day. And I hear him saying, "We did it, kid." So yeah, I'm going to hold on to that and trust that it will come about one way or the other. I did also ask because, this human in me is having a hard time accepting some of these images that I've seen and some of the things that I've heard. And so I asked the question, well, if he is no longer here, how might that complicate people understanding the gravity of what he has done? Because there may be, some kind of excuse for those who like him or support him to say, oh, well, the only reason she is the leader now is because he was not here. And they're just trying to put all those things on him because he's no longer here, and it will be presented in such a way to where it's irrefutable, the evidence, that is, and the gravity of how extensive this web of nefarious, actors has been, and the events that have taken place. That's what I was told. Now, I firmly believe that. So in the event that he is no longer here, that's not going to overshadow, what the public is told and how we're told and how we come to an understanding about it. But of course, there will probably always be that select group that doesn't believe it, that, they're diehard supporters and they're just not going to believe it. There's nothing we can do about them. But we just got to trust that we are moving in the right direction here as a collective, energetically. Vibration's getting higher. I can feel it. And, I feel like there's so much that's coming our way that is good, that we'll look back on this and really be like, wow, we went through something tremendous, but we got through it. And a lot of us, even though we had our doubts and moments, we found a way to keep the faith. And if this is not hitting, for you this evening, because it's coming up here to that last minute almost of the final hour, then I get it. And I'm certainly not asking you to stretch yourself or to believe me or to do anything that doesn't feel like it resonates with you. But just try to find that neutral place instead, where maybe you just let yourself rest. You take a break from thinking about it and go watch a movie. You do something that's going to distract you for a while, and that's okay too. So, okay, that's all I've got for you today. I'm really excited though, I will say. And however it turns out, I know that we will be fine. And I will see you in the next video. And if you found this video helpful in any way, please hit the like and subscribe and set your notifications, and I'll see you next time. One more thing before I go. So I started what I call the Spiritualist Collective, and it's an online spiritual community of like-minded spiritual practitioners and seekers at varying stages of their development. And we get together once a week to connect and to build and to share our gifts and to grow. And recently I opened it up to the larger BIPOC community. Don't love that acronym, but I know you know what I mean. But if any of this sounds good to you, then please check out the link in the description, and I hope to see you there.